Welcome to the very first episode of the Art of Travel show. Today I will be talking about planning your trip. Did you know you have to plan your trip? Well, now you know. When you plan your trip, everything goes so much easier, believe me. I've been there, done that. When you don't have a plan, then you're gonna scramble last minute. You're gonna decide where to go last minute, you're gonna waste your time. But when you plan your trip, I can guarantee you everything is gonna be just fantastic. I have 7 steps to share with you today to help you plan your trip. Are you ready? Without further ado, let's get started. Step number 1, you have to decide. You have to decide that you're going for a trip. I know so many people who keep procrastinating taking a trip. They have time, they have money, but they keep thinking that it's not the right time yet. So make that decision, decide that you're going, commit to it. Step number 2, pick your destination. Decide which country you will be visiting. This is a very crucial step in planning your trip. Maybe you want to go somewhere warm and you pick Mexico. Or maybe you want to do some shopping, you go to Hong Kong. Or maybe you want to explore some history and you go to Israel. It's really up to you. I'm not going to suggest you what to pick. You have your preferences, you have your choices. But if you're stuck, if you don't know where to go, take a world map, take any world map or a globe and let your finger make a choice. Step number 3, do your research. Once you know where you're going, open a YouTube and type the name of the country or the cities that you're planning to visit and watch a few videos. Watch videos, make some notes, identify the most touristy places or the places that are of interest to you. Write them down. At the end of this exercise, you will have a whole list of places that you will be visiting. Once you have that list, identify the ones that you must visit. Take your time, don't rush. Write down all those places that you want to visit. Once you're done with this exercise, you have the foundation for your trip. Next step, decide how long are you going for. Now that you've done your research, you know what places are you visiting, you might have a better idea how long it will take you to explore all those places. This would be the right time to change your itinerary a little bit, because if you're going somewhere far, let's say you live in North America and you're going to Asia, let's say you're going to Thailand, it would make sense to visit neighboring countries because you're investing this time, you're investing this money to go all the way there. You might as well use that opportunity to explore the region. But once you finalize your itinerary, decide on a number of days and lock it in. Next, you're going to create a detailed travel schedule. This means you're going to create a schedule day by day. For example, if you're going for 7 days, you're going to create a schedule where you decide, what you're going to do on day 1 in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, on day 2 in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and so on. So your entire vacation will be planned that way. Make sure you optimize your route. If you're in a big city, you can visit places that are in the east end of the city, for example, on one day, and then you can visit places that are on the west side of the city. That way you don't waste time traveling all across the city. It's also a good idea to buy tickets in advance. If you're going for a show or if you're planning to visit museums or exhibition, you can buy those tickets in advance so you're not scrambling last minute. Next step, I call it a deep dive. If the previous step I normally complete a couple of months or maybe 3-4 months before the trip, this particular step, deep dive, I normally complete right before going for a vacation, maybe a week or 2 before. So this is where you actually doing the deep dive. You look at every place that you will be visiting and you research further. You write down all the details, maybe opening hours for that particular place where you're going, or maybe you put some details how to get to those places. Again, so you don't scramble last minute. When you travel, time is very important. You don't want to waste it. So when you plan all these little details in advance, it's going to help you tremendously. If you're visiting a city, consider downloading an app which would have a map of that city, and ideally the offline map. So often enough, when you're in a different country, you may not have data, and that way you can identify where you're located and you can find your way around the city very easily. And finally, step number 7, be flexible. What do I mean by being flexible? Well, you have a schedule. You have a daily schedule for your trip. But guess what? It's not going to be exactly as you planned it to be, right? You're going to find certain places that you like more, so you might go there 1 or 2 times. That happens to me all the time. And you might run out of time. And when you run out of time, you have to make certain choices. That's why I asked you at the beginning, identify the items that are must-have. You must visit them. So that's why you ensure that you visit them. Everything else, if you miss it, it's not a big deal. As a rule of thumb, use the 80-20 principle. If you visit 80% of the items on your list, it's a success. And everyone's different. Some people like structured vacations, some people prefer more flexibility. I hope you found this video helpful. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, invest your time in planning your trip. I guarantee you it will be so much easier when you have your whole vacation, all your trip planned in advance, and that way you don't have to scramble, you don't have to decide last minute where you're going, and that way you will maximize your experience. I'd love to know where you're going next. Let me know in the comments below what's your next destination. Have an amazing trip.